Hey everyone, welcome to the first vlog of the channel. This is a pre-tournament vlog for the upcoming Cram Wars Team Series event. I've got my team with me, which you can see on the screen. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hopefully you can hear them as well. If not, this will be a very interesting video. Being hold up, yes, trying to film a Discord call and work a Google PDF as well at the same time. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, so we're just going to kind of go through, we'll start off with our team name because that is an interesting team name. And Gavin, the team captain, will take that question. Then we're going to go into how we feel about our round one and our expectations for the tournament, what we're worried about in terms of any particular round matchups, and just kind of talk about our feelings for the event. And yeah, then we'll come back after the weekend and do a post team interview when we're all battered and bruised and broken. I will say that today the COVID-19 lockdown rules did change for Scotland, but that effectively comes into change on Monday. So we are speaking to the TO and the venue. It's just all going ahead as planned at this point. So
Yeah.
we are still in accordance. We aren't going against any kind of rules. So we're just going to take extra precautions and take extra care and not go and socialise at night as you would do at a tournament normally. We'll just keep it to ourselves.
I mean, organising the event has made it mandatory that everyone wears face masks and has to clean up after themselves and everything. So there's plenty of precautions being taken for it.
No sharing dice, no sharing models, chess clocks, touchstone chess clocks, stuff like that. But anyway, Gavin.
One way in common ground as well.
Yeah.
So they've taken loads of precautions.
Yeah.
So it's nice and safe.
Exactly. And I should also say, because you may not have seen faces before, you should have seen Gavin from the first video on the channel where he infamously tried to pull a sneaky 4 from hard below me.
Yeah.
And lost in the game.
I have also just beaten you on TTS.
we didn't talk about that game. Also, something you wouldn't have seen before down at the bottom is Matty. Matty, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself? So this is your first time on the channel.
Yep. Long time viewer, first time caller.
What armies do you normally play?
So I'm normally a Custodes player. So I started October last year playing again after taking a couple of years break during 8th. So I've been playing them. Got into a few tournaments with them. Did okay the first one. Went 3 for 3, so came mid-table. Then took a bit of a derpy vehicle list to a major, which was not my smartest idea in life. Let's just say Aries, which I think in total lasted 3 turns. 3 of my turns were that.
And how many points is that vehicle?
It's only 450 points, so.
Oh, okay. and can you deploy it?
What's that?
Can you deploy it?
Oh, 100%. Get one. Chapter Master Bark might still be 7-1. They're that good.
And but you're playing something first. Sorry, Gavin, go ahead.
I think your first indication of how badly that list was going was the Wednesday before you were playing it. You played me, and I just ran Terminators into your face and killed them with Stormbolters.
To be fair, who brings 3 up info saves to anyone? What
type
of player runs 3 up info save OBSEC, honestly?
Says the Custodes player. But you're not playing Custodes at this time, are you? Matty?
What's that, sorry?
You're not playing Custodes this time, are you?
I can't hear you at the minute. You're a bit muffled. Just take your mic away from you.
Right, okay, so Matty's playing Orcs this time, right?
Yes, playing Orcs, so I'm playing the buggy list.
Yeah,
so I'm running 3 scrap jets, 3 shot jumps, a bone breaker, double burner bomber, and 4 trucks, 2 of them which are filled with 9 knobs, and some commandos.
Yep, here's Matty's list on the screen for you now.
Yep, so 3 units, 5, 2 of them have power fists just in case they can go in. It's their skull, so I've got the reroll to hit wound and damage. So it might just be enough to like pop a heavy, like an elite unit sort of thing, or do enough damage to a vehicle, it's not hitting me back quite as hard.
Yeah. And then Gavin, what disgustingness are you running this time round?
I'm running the exact same list as I ran against you in the TTS game that we filmed for your channel.
Yeah.
As a quick summary, it's basically 40 Necron Warriors with Gauss Flares in squads of 10. 3 Doomsday Arcs. You're welcome, Chris. Catan, Shard of the Deceiver, Overlord, Royal Warden, and 10 Wraiths.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fun list.
It is a fun list, and it should do well. And then my list, you've seen it, got on the channel before, but here it is. I was going to leave it on the screen because you've talked about it enough, but basically it's a Salamander's successor Flamer battalion with some with the Uncredible Smash Captain and Blade Guard, Eradicators, Cursors, Infiltrators, all the good stuff. But as the name of our team is on the screen, we are Team Greek Free Home Beer. Gavin, team captain, do you want to explain that name?
Yeah,
I'm going to focus on you.
That name came about because the original team was going to be me, Chris, and Dave Murray. Was going to be the original team, but Dave said he had another commitment, couldn't make the weekend, so we drafted in Matty, who is very, very grateful, good at joining our team. Funnily enough, Dave is now playing for Team Avon and going for the win of the event, so Dave, hate you. But basically that was the team lineup that we had last year when we played, and our name was Hold Our Beer, or Hold My Beer.
Yeah.
But we also had another member of the team called Aris, who is Greek, who unfortunately isn't going to be able to make the event due to Greece now being under the lockdown restrictions for COVID. Yeah. But he was going to be on the other Dundee team, so hence Greek Free.
Yeah. And we actually grudged that team, but when Iris was told by the Scottish government he can't come to the tournament this weekend, essentially, because he didn't leave enough quarantine time after his flight.
Yeah.
To be fair to him, it was like it changed the day he was flying or something, or something like that, and then they took it off the list, but he was already checked into his quarantine, so he's stuck. This is essentially what's happened. So we grudged the other Dundee team, then we took the grudge away when they lost a player like 10 days before the tournament. So
it was like 3 days before list submission as well. So
yeah, it was rough. But yeah,
to them.
Yeah, it didn't feel fair. They got in a guy called Ben from Edinburgh to fill the spot. Seems like a lovely enough guy. We'll be all meeting him for the first time this weekend as he's part of the other Dundee team, so we'll obviously see quite a bit of him as well, and hopefully we get a game and and have a laugh. But I think 2 of the 3 lists has entirely changed from the team because of that.
It has.
That changed, so that was rough. So you know the team now, but in the round 1 we pulled the Good, the Bad, the Bruce team, which obviously contains Bruce. So once I find the right page, so the Good, the Bad, and the Bruce. So we got a good guy, a bad guy, and Bruce. This is Bruce's list here. It's some Harlequins with which is Soaring Spy, bunch of fusion pistols in here on the Troop Masters and on the players as well. We've also got 30 melee Harlequins is what we're calling them, because we've got 10 crests, 10 kisses, and 10 embraces. Some Star Weavers. 2 units of 5 Sky Weavers with Haywire Cannons, a Death Jester just off Overwatch, and a Shadow Seer with a 9-inch relic, with a 9-inch Aura relic. So it's a pretty rough list for all of our armies, is what we cited, isn't it? Because
it's not great. The fusion pistols are good against Chris. Harlequins are fast, have a lot of tricks that can get around Chris's list. And then you've got Sky Weavers with Haywire, which are just good against both me and Matty, who are running more the vehicle kind of based lists. So also, they
also make my Flamers range 6, which hurts. Sorry, range 5.
6-inch Flamers hurt.
Sorry, not even 6-inch, range 5, because it's 11 inches minus 6. So it's just, I'm never going to get a Flamer shot off, and when you're that's like a quarter of my army almost. You know, it sucks. Against Matty, all the stuff will be moving out with either hiding or -1 to hit. So, you know, when you're cutting off half of the orc to hit chance, it's bad.
I know it's hard enough to hit with my weapons, never mind. Only
exactly.
on 6s.
So this is
and then against
against
me, it's one of those games that, like, you've obviously seen on the channel before. I've beaten Harlequins when Chris was playing them, but Harlequins can be very swingy. So while Chris had some really bad luck in that game, and that's what helped me beat him, if I play this, there's a chance I could beat it, but there's also a chance it could just roll 6s out the wazoo and basically just take me straight off the board.
Yeah.
So
it's not an advertising list for us, and actually there's actually I think 3 or 4 Harlequin lists at the event. So when you've only got 10 teams, you got a good chance of running into at least 2 across the event. But Harlequins are I think are the very strong army right now. The next list in the team is Steve Burns, their captain. He's running Custode, so we'll just run through the list, and we have a resident Custodes player tell you a bit about this army, because he knows more than Gavin and I put together about this faction.
Yeah.
So you've got a Dread Host patrol with our shield captain and non-eagle bite with some custodian guard and 2 units of Alaris, one with spears, one with axes. The shield captain has got superior creation, which is a 5 fuel pain, I believe, and eagle's eye, which is 3 vulnerable, so he's pretty durable. Then you've got a Quinn shield patrol, another non-eagle captain. He's got revered companion, I believe I don't know what that does. Manny can fill us in with that later. He's also got Unstoppable War Destroyer, Captain Commander trait, which lets him pile in 3 plus D3 inches, I think, on the Consolidate as well. And I believe he is running the Order Quillis, so that's the relic bike for 3 up and reroll charge. Then another unit of Custodian Guard and the -1 to hit banner, which can be synergizing really well with the Alaris, bringing them in 3 inches away in deep strike. Maddie, is there anything you want to highlight from these Custode lists?
So I'll quickly go over the second shield captain. So that's part of the Aquilin shield. So it's got the Warlord trait that means he takes half damage.
Yeah.
And the other part to the shield captain trait is it can consolidate a pile in whichever direction it wants.
Oh, okay.
So it means that you can either swoop and dive in the opponent's turn, charge, and consolidate out of combat if you don't kill, and then just try again. Or even if you fight with him in your opponent's turn, you just straight away pile out of combat or tag whatever you want.
That's really nice.
So it's so good. Yeah. Especially when he's as hard to kill as he will be.
Yeah.
So he'll be 7 wounds, 2 up, 3 up, half damage, and you can give him Victor of the Blood games. So that's a once per round reroll of either hit, wound, or save. So you pretty much always use him to save, because he'll be reroll once to hit, so always hitting. And then if he charges, he's rerolling to wound as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is, because he's done 2 detachments, so the shield host, their stratagem lets them basically do a 3d6 charge, and you take away the lowest rather, so it's old school fleet, which is quite nice. But personally, I would do it in the 1, so I would run it just as a vanguard. So you're -1 CP than what he starts with, but he can use the Aquilin shield stratagem instead to protect his characters. So their one lets you basically, the opponent says, I'm going to target a character. You say, cool, you're going to solve all those attacks against somebody else, against another unit. And it just, because his characters are quite vulnerable at the minute, if he unleashes the lines at all, he's only got 2 units that are actually more than 3 that are hard to not get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, should be an interesting list.
Yeah. I think that
hard to see how it plays.
So what we've been thinking is, we think that the 8-man unit of custodians will be deployed and used Unleash the Lions on, just to have 8 durable bodies running around doing their own thing. And then the 10
1 or 2,
and then the 10 will be put into reserve and deep struck in because of the +1 to wound stratagem on the spears. Is what we suspect, but Steve might have his own plan. it might be something we're missing entirely, and if it is, it will make for a very interesting game. And then the last list, which is Tim Dagnall of Team Scotland.
Tim.
Yeah, so hi Tim, if you're watching. He's running sisters. There's a lot of sisters at the event. I think there's 3 or 4 again. Sisters, sister armies.
There is 3 sisters lists.
Yeah.
Pure sisters list. There is one which is a mixed Imperium with sisters.
Yeah. What I'll do is over here in this bottom corner is as I'll put up the pie chart of the different factions at the event, so you can see, because it's interesting to see what people are taking in teams. So I don't think there's been a teams events that I've heard of, since we might be the first one of life. Who knows? Innes can comment below and correct me, no doubt. But yeah, so this is nasty. This is Order of Bloody Rose. They've got the Mage Fire in there to ignore the AP -1. They've got also Taylor the Warrior to give them +1 strength. It's a 9-inch orc as well. The Mage Fire also gives them +1 to their native invulnerable save for being sisters. Celestine does the same thing in a slightly smaller range. You've got Rhinos, you've got Exorcists, you've got Seraphim with Hand Flamers, Repentia. This list is nasty. It's terrifying.
Funnily enough, I believe it was made by Innes.
Yeah. Innes did say to me, "Oh yeah, that's one that I wrote," and then gave you 10. So that makes us just a little bit more nervous. It makes us a bit more nervous. And of course you've got the Repentia Superior up the top of the list here in the No Force organization slot, which makes the Repentia even more scary. Honestly, these 3 lists, there's no one great matchup for us. I think there's one good one, but there's not one great one. What's your guys' initial question?
Yeah, it's basically a case of the Harlequins and the sisters. Sisters can pull so much janky stuff that it's gonna be a tough matchup no matter who gets into it. And Tim's obviously a good player, being on Team Scotland. I feel like the list that we have the best chance against and getting a good win is the Custodes list.
Yeah.
Just purely because we have a Custodes player on the team, and we've all played Custodes a fair amount now, so we at least kind of know what they're doing. And Harlequins, as we've said, can be super swingy one way or another. They're either going to kick your butt or they're going to die pretty quickly. So
yeah,
I was the same boat. It's the sisters list there. It's a list I'm scared of, basically.
Yeah, we're all terrified of the Repentia with a 29-inch threat range.
29-inch threat range that you can make easily.
All you need is 3 6s in your Miracle Dice pot, which isn't out of the question, and could definitely happen.
No.
And then you've guaranteed that those 29 inches being placed, and you can even have 2 6s and 3 really bad ones, because I think you use the stratagem to discard 3 bad ones as in 1s and 2s to turn those 3 dice into 1 6. So it's terrifying. There's combinations which the Seraphim can drop in, clear shoot movement phase, clear a spot for the Repentia, because we reckon the 8 women Repentia squad will be outflanked, using strategic reserves to then come in slightly closer to your lines. I think Gavin,
the Celestians take wins for characters as well, so it's not like you can go character hunting either.
Yeah.
It's a good list.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see the despair in my eyes, this is why. Gavin, as team captain, do you want to kind of run through our team strategy for approaching this matchup? This is going to be sorry, Gavin. This will be put out on YouTube during the round, so Tim can watch this. And you get the benefit.
Attacker defender then.
Yeah.
Just in case, because other people might not know.
So the way that team events work, just for anyone that's not aware, normally the team events we run up here is 4 players in them. So you'd have 1 person from each team gets put forward as a defender. Those are revealed at the same time as the opponent's defender. at which point the opponent gets to pick 2 attackers to fight that defender. The team that's put the defender forward then gets to choose which of those 2 attackers their defender faces. And then the 2 attackers that aren't chosen by either team then play off against each other.
Yeah.
It's basically the way that the pairings work. In a 4-player team, the 2 lists that aren't chosen at all also play each other, but that's not happening in the 3-player teams that we've got.
Yeah.
So the way that you kind of want to work it is you kind of want to defend with lists either that you think are going to do very well in a matchup and you try and get the best matchup possible for that list, or you try to avoid the really, really bad matchup. Is basically how defending kind of works.
Yeah.
So, with regards to that, we think that the best thing to do with this list... Oh, also, I forgot to mention as well, you also roll off to decide the terrain that's going to be on the table. So, there's going to be like a light terrain board, a medium terrain board, and a heavy terrain board. So, one team gets to pick one of the boards for one matchup, and the other team technically gets to pick 2, even though they're only picking the 1.
Yeah.
They decide 2 matchups, really, which is really where you want to be.
Yeah.
So, we think for this matchup, we are probably going to defend with me purely to get me away from the Harlequins, which, with Haywire, just do havoc against Doomsday Arcs.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Matty, even though Matty's got a lot of vehicles in his list, Matty's got so many vehicles that they're going to have a hard time trying to ensure that they're getting the exact number of shots to kill each vehicle. Because Harlequins are so random, he could completely underkill or completely overkill vehicles, so it's hard for him to dedicate against Matty.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get me away from that matchup, and ideally we think that me into the Sisters is the best matchup for me. I've beaten Tim in previous events, even though it's been close. And I've played against the Sisters the most out of all 3 of us, I think. So I kind of understand how they work.
I've played against them once.
I've played against them 5 times now, so I kind of have an idea of how they work, although I'm still not great. And then we think Chris with up against Custodes is a pretty nice match for Chris.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So me and Custodes was probably our one good matchup, is what I'd say. I'm not going to think it's a great matchup because it is so random, because they do have so many good invos that my Eradicators don't just pick up models. They pressure models is what I would say against Custodes. I should also say the mission we're playing is mission 31 from the GT pack, which is 6 objectives. Is it Overrun? Yeah. It's 6 objectives on the field. It's Dawn of War deployment, and 2 objectives on each of your flank are just outside of your deployment zone, one's firmly inside it, in the middle. The mission secondary is terrible, so you don't want to be taking that unless you're like a fully deep striking army for whatever reason. And so I reckon I could do alright against the Custodes, because I've got infiltrators, they really stop any deep strike shenanigans, and it's going to take probably a bite captain coming into the infiltrators to get rid of them. So if I put those infiltrators near any crest that I deploy, that bite captain is just dead to wait a dice the following turn. Like, ridiculously hard. Because it'd be on a 3-up save, and okay, cool, here is 3 mortal wounds to you, and probably 72 shots. It'll probably pay the 2 CP to get max number of shots if I'm not near my lieutenant. So
Mortal wounds are king in this matchup.
Yeah.
That's like the crux of Custodes.
Yeah. It's gonna be bad. And then if he's still alive for whatever reason, I can just charge him, because I'll be within charge range. So we don't think the Custodes does too well into my list. We think they might defend with the Sisters, is what we're thinking, or is either Sisters or Harkins is what we're guessing. The other team will defend. So there's a 50-50 chance of to see where Gavin goes if he goes to the right spot, but it's always hard to guess what the other team thinks as you watch matchup unless it's super obvious. This beats this list.
Yeah.
So it's always a guessing game, and this is what makes Team 40K interesting.
Yeah, and the other thing about team events is even if you get a bad matchup, so like you can bust people. So the other way of doing a defender is you basically give the defender the worst matchup possible to try and ensure that the other players get good matchups. And all you say to the defender is, get some points out of this. So in my first ever team event, I got given that 4 times, and managed to pull a win on 2 of them, which obviously helped my team out greatly.
How many 4th vulnerables did you say you had?
Actually, I didn't have a lord in that event, so yeah. So I had the 4th invulnerables.
Just checking. Yeah, so this round could go either way, is what we're thinking.
It's a tough round 1 for us.
Yeah, we were hoping to not face this team, I think, until like one 3 or 4. Once we've had some good wins under our belt, because obviously once you've had some wins, you're more confident, you play slightly differently, and the psychology of the game changes. At this point, before we wrap up, is there any lists that you want to highlight? Gavin, do you have Innis's list? Right, let's go and see Innis's list.
Gav's list as well, man.
Yeah, Innis and Gav's list, because they've got almost identical lists.
Yeah, so this is Gavin's list. I'll let you pause here for a second. And I promise you I have changed the page. This is Innis's list. It's disgusting.
There is one difference in it, and that is it.
You may have seen Manny talking about the Lord of Change and stuff, and Stephen Box talking about the Lord of Change on YouTube already, but it's just disgusting. It's 3 up, it's -1 damage, and it's got an invul. It's got a Funeral Pain, which heals him when he passes his Funeral Pain. Then it's got the Epitome, which keeps you in combat when you don't want to be in combat. And then you've got the Chaos Spawn to put you in combat in the first place. And then you've got Nerdlings, then you've got 10 Blight Lords. And then, of course, for good measure, you've got 2 Fire Blight Spawn. Innis says, and this is where I want to get his head checked, Innis says that my list trumps this list. And if it was a no-terrain board where I could just run up and do my Flamer stuff, I would agree with him. But when Innis or Gavin is piloting these armies, who are both very good players, it makes it so much more difficult, because I would never get the Flamers into the Lord of Change unless they've made a horrendous mistake. I'll never kill the Contorted Epitome. I can never deal with the Blight Lords, because they're either stuck in combat with something because of the Epitome, or they are outline in sight. It's rough.
And it's one of those as well, if the team's playing properly as well in those matchups, you're never going to get that matchup either, in terms of pairings, because the team will try and get you away from that, so that, because it is a bad matchup, they don't want you getting into it.
Yeah, Ennis has basically told me that he and I will never play a team event, because if our teams are drawn together, they'll probably just defend with Ennis and then not pick me. So we had that thing a lot when we were picking who to defend with as well, because then there's no point sending me into to be an attacker into them, because, well, then they could just go, cool, here's a really bad matchup for you somewhere else in the team. Yeah. So it's an interesting school of thought. Matty, do you have a list you want to highlight from this pack? We won't go through the whole thing. I'll link it in the description down below. But if you have a list, you want to give a shout out to?
A list, mine's main is those 2. It's most of Team Avons and Team Kunsels.
Well, let's pick a different list.
Just one list. I will take.
Or Team
Patrick's. I like his list. It's another Harlequin list.
Is that on Team Kunsel? Yeah, here we go.
Team Kunsel, yeah.
Yes.
It's the one that's got the young car.
Yeah, so I believe Simon is also part of Team Scotland. At least to my thinking, he is.
If he's not Team Scotland, he's borderline Team Scotland.
Yeah.
So
he's a very, very good Harlequins player. I saw him play a couple of weeks ago at a practice day, and it was insane. He gave Ennis a good run for his money, which is saying something. It's also slightly different because it's Frozen Stars. It's fighty Harlequins. They want to get in your face. So he's got a unit of 8 with Caress. Then he's also got Future Pistol in support, all with Caress. And then he's got the Yin card. It's horrible.
It's just the melee output.
And he'll know exactly what to do with that list as well.
Yeah, there is no guessing with him. He knows exactly what his mother's going to do at all times, which is what makes a Harlequin player a good player, because you ain't getting rerolls. You're wounding on 4-ups majority of the time, or saving the 4-ups majority of the time. So if you play exactly the averages in your favor, like, you'll probably kill this army outright, but they will win by a good 20-30 points.
It's a tough list. So what's your pick of the list then?
Mine was actually the only Tau list, because I actually really like it.
It's not bad.
Where is it? Is it at the front of the list pack or the bottom of it?
It's T3, majority T3. Oh no, sorry, it's not majority T3.
No, it's Callum Birdie's team.
Keep your mask on. Keep your mask on.
That's at the bottom, isn't it?
It's page 12.
Page 12, I've gone the wrong way, sorry everyone. It's always fun watching me scroll around the Word doc or PDF. Yeah, so I like it for one reason. I like it because the Riptides can shoot and scoot, and it actually matters these days because they're not getting the penalty to shoot and fire heavy weapons because they're monsters. So basically what's going to happen is the Riptide's going to move out his normal move, fire off the Amplified Iron Accelerator, which is something like it's -4, -3, might even -5, who knows. It's strength loss, and then it's always 3 plus D3 damage, which rips apart my army, rips apart Matty's army, and tickles Gavin's army, because he has a 2-point vulnerable.
I just go tasty.
Yeah, because quantum shooting, lovely. So as long as I think it's something like, as long as you roll a 7 on 2 dice, you will never be able to target this Riptide. And in fact, it's more likely to kill itself from rolling 1s or 2s if there's a penalty to hit, because that's basically a permanently overcharged plasma gun, which I rate because of the channel name. And then also when it overcharges to do its movement after shooting, it takes a mortal wound. So it's more likely to kill itself than you killing it, unless something's gone horribly wrong for the Tau player. And then you got another Riptide who's got a burst cannon who's just there to clear out screens and whatnot. And they both got smart missile systems as well. They'll both be shooting and scooting all game, and if not, they do have some drones on the list to help guard them, but not a lot. And then you got the Cold Star, the classic 14-inch move, I'm going to kill a character guy. But yeah, it's good to see a Tau list. Tau is kind of in a funny spot.
Good.
But yeah, so
looks good. Looks fun.
Just before we finish, what is our team goal for this event? Gavin, what do you want to see out of the team?
3rd place, so we can get the prize that you've put up for the event.
Yeah, I have. I don't have a box next to me, but I have basically got red markers. You should have seen them in the channel already when I played against John. 3 boxes of those will be the 3rd place prize, and we actually might win it somehow. If that happens, of course, we'll be passing it down to 4th place because the Matty and Gavin have both bought some markers to help support the channel and to get the merchandise line rolling, shall we say. So we've all got a set already, so we'll be passing that down the line to 4th place to get it. I want to see 2nd and 3rd place out of us. I at least want to see us go 4-1 because it's 5 rounds.
Yeah.
My personal goal is to go 4-1 as well. I've never done that before. That's my personal goal. Obviously, matchup dependent. If they bust me for 2 rounds, then they bust me for 2 rounds. I can't do much about that. Gavin, what's your personal goal? Like, what do you want to see from yourself in terms of win rate?
My personal goal is I'm playing Necrons, which, okay, they're alright at the moment, but they're not broken. So probably a 3-2, where I'm taking losses to try and help the team, is probably alright. Ideally, I'd love to see a 4-1. Don't think I'll get it, but I think a 3-2 is pretty manageable for me. And obviously, if it helps the team get a 4-1 overall, that's all that matters.
Yep. Matty, same questions to you.
Same as you guys. So I'd like the podium as a team goal. That'd be cool. 4-1, I think, for my list, just because I'll be playing so quite aggressive, and all the armies I think I'll be facing, I should be okay against. So that's the hope. The last one is this will be my first team event.
Yeah.
I've obviously not done any yet.
Also, the first event with Orcs, right?
See how it's going to get on and actually build on that, see what it's like. See if I get a bit better at this matchup business.
Is this your first event with Orcs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've only ever played. As I said, these will be my. Excuse me. This is my first few games in real life with Orcs.
Yeah.
It's only been TTS I'll be playing with them.
Oh no,
so
that means first round Matty's gonna have new model syndrome. Oh no.
Oh no. That's only
guys. That's only if models are painted. Nothing's painted yet, so we're sorry.
I need to say as well. I've only just got the Doomsday arcs as well, so I'm gonna have new model syndrome too.
I can't do that. The tournament's ages away. It's ages away. It's fine. It's ages away. It's 2 days and everything's still great.
So if you want to join our lovely team for let me know in the comment down below. I need to find some new team members. Anyway, I think we'll call it there. We've gone over by double what I said we'd go over, so it's 15 minutes down to about half an hour. But that's what happens when you get 3 people who like 40k chatting about 40k. But yeah, thank you to my teammates, and thank you to Innes, Common Gun Games, Team Scotland for running this event, and hopefully we'll make it a good, safe event as well, so that we can come back and so everyone can come back and do the next one, which I think the next Scottish event is happening up in Elgin with Scottish Takeover, but obviously that's now up in the air with the new restrictions happening for Monday. And I'm personally not going to that one. My next event is in November in Utrecht, which is in Holland, outside of Amsterdam. So, this might be dedicated to that as well. So I'm very keen to see how things go. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment if you like these style of pre-tournament and post-tournament vlogs. If you found it interesting, if you didn't find it interesting, let us know. Always want to try out new content, and we'll catch you all after the event. Cheers.
Cheers.
See yous.